Welcome to the Immunity Community 2020, where our focus is to provide physical, mental, spiritual info and positive vibes to help you endure and adapt. We'll be bringing you experts to provide strategies to handle stress and boost your immunity. Welcome, Immunity Community 2020. I'm glad my guest here is sitting. I'm standing because today we're going to be talking about ergonomics. And my friend and colleague, Emile Clarke, is a ergonomist, a certified ergonomic specialist. He's got $1 million smile. He's a fantastic human. And today, what we want to do is provide you, the listeners, with some tactics of what to do at home, because a lot of us are moving into working at home, and we used to sit at work or we used to stand at work, whatever that is, but there's a major pivot and shift in how we're approaching our working lives. So Emile, can you tell us first what are ergonomics?
Awesome. Well, Brian, definitely, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to be on the Immunity Community Show. I'm looking forward to just sharing a lot of kind of the most often issues that I see in the workplace when I see people having injuries or pain in their neck, shoulders, and wrists. And especially now with so many people working from home, I expect a lot of people's their discomfort and their pain to be going up. So definitely, first of all, I want to tell you thanks for that.
You got it.
So now, kind of getting into my background. So my background, of course, is in physical therapy, where our relationship began. And then after that, but what specifically kind of drew me to this field is I would see people get better. You can massage people, manipulate joints, and do all these things in the clinic to have people get better. But if you're going back to the exact same workstation, right, and if they're looking up all day or they're looking down or reaching, all these little things, it doesn't matter how great you make people feel. If they're going back to a bad work environment, the discomfort is going to come back. Right? It's like 2 or 3 days later if you're going back and doing the exact same thing. And I'm going to eventually get into some of those things that I've seen. But that's what actually got me into the field. So ergonomics is how the physical and physiological work demands affect the body. That's like the simple definition in a nutshell. Okay. So we do a lot of things. So of course, in order to do this work, you have to have some type of rehab background. But pretty much we help people decrease pain at work. A lot of times just from pain incurs from repetitive motions. So whether it might be reaching out to the phone for if you're on the phone often, reaching out to the side for the phone and things like that, which we're going to also get into. A lot of it also comes from just the physical posture. So if you're slumped over, reaching bad, if you're lifting bad, so bad lifting mechanics, whether it be like if you're working in a healthcare setting and you're lifting things wrong, you're going to feel it a lot. But just kind of specifically tailored to what we're speaking about now, home, like office ergonomics, just a lot of it happens to just be from bad posture. So like slumped over, working from a laptop, looking down all day. Yeah. So a lot of it is just how you're setting up your equipment, also making sure you're fitted in a properly fitted office chair, which we're also going to get into how to know if your chair is fitted correctly. Okay. Because little things like that, they really go a long way. And then also things like the environment as well. So if your environment is too cold or too warm, obviously if it's too cold and you have arthritis, something like that, it's going to be worse. Also lighting. So like if the lighting is too dark, or if you have a window kind of right behind you or right behind the monitor, that sunlight can a lot of times irritate your eyes as well.
Interesting. I never even realized ergonomics went to the depth of not just, I've always assumed that it was just posture, but you're taking the entire posture of the environment as well to make sure that we can be more productive and not miss work because of pain, and also get the most benefit out of doing things like physical therapy and chiropractic. Because I get it. I've worked on people where, you work on them and then they feel better as soon as they're walking out of the office, and then they come back like the same exact things return. I'm like, okay, what are you doing? How are you sitting at home or in the car and things like that? So have you, just a little bit more on your background, like when you're assessing workstation stuff, you were working with the federal government, correct?
Yeah, so I had some government contracts, and I also have a lot of I've done a lot of work in the private sector also. So I do a lot of office. My specialty is office ergonomics.
Okay.
And then also I have done some stuff in the vehicle setting as well.
Okay.
So like for truck drivers and
Awesome.
people who are driving a lot for work. So there's a certain science to the way you want to set up a lot of your station, whether it be at home or in the car. And also a lot of stuff in I've done a lot of stuff in healthcare too. So like with ultrasound people, a lot of people who do ultrasound work.
Yeah.
If you can imagine, they have these awkward positions and trying to position themselves and a lot of shoulder injuries and back injuries. So a lot of times it just have to do with making sure the table is at the correct height. You're positioning your patient in front of you as you're trying to get the angles that you want. So there's a lot of body mechanics that goes into that. And a lot of these things, they might seem really, really little, but it's that frequency and that duration, right? Little repetitive motions can really add up over 30, 40, 50-hour work weeks.
Yes. Well, I know that firsthand, because as a practicing chiropractor, I was, I injured my back, I injured my shoulders. I wish you had learned this stuff when we were working together, but that's all good. We're here now. So can you, I want to get right to it, because I'd rather use most of our time today to provide really good info for the office, unless you had more to share. But I would love to, if you need to do a screen share, we can do that as well, or I can contort my own body for you if you need it, or whatever works for you. But I really, audience, if you're as you're tuning in here, please share and comment some of the benefits that you've seen. Definitely what you're going to get from Emile, and then maybe some things or some tips and tools that you purchased or learned in the interim. So the floor is yours, brother.
Absolutely. So I condensed my presentation here. I normally do this. I have a presentation. I normally do lunch and learns for companies. But it's normally like close to an hour. So I wanted to condense it down to the slides that I felt was going to be the most effective for people who are working from home.
We're in the world of social media, so we're going to make it happen quick.
Exactly. So give me 1 second here.
Yes, sir.
And I'm just kind of getting familiar with Zoom, because I'm normally used to GoToMeeting. So
awesome. There we go.
We're getting this right.
Yeah, you are.
Are you seeing my screen yet?
Yes, I am. Yep.
Okay, great. All right, let me go ahead and expand this here. What is this one? Great, awesome. So this is my company, Elevation Health, and this is my motto here: elevating others through empowerment. So specifically, that empowerment portion comes from just education. So I love educating others and helping people to just feel better, right? So I have a goal similar like you, to just end suffering, right? And so a lot of people are just suffering a lot from work, and people always say the same thing. Well, I feel like I must be getting older. At the end of the workday, my neck hurts, or at the end of the workdays, this hurts. But a lot of times it's something that we're actually doing at work. So we're going to get into, like I said, a few of those things. So I kind of already got into this portion right here. So what kind of the study of ergonomics is again, the biggest things to really consider is the repetitive motions, physical posture, equipment design, and work environment. Those are pretty much the big things to consider. And really, ergonomics really blew up over the last 10 or 15 years. With people sitting and working more than ever, a lot of that pain has gone up. So we're seeing a lot more incidence rates of like neck pain, back pain, wrist and shoulder, just because people are sitting down and working at desks more than really over the last 20 years. People are sitting and working more than ever. So that's what a lot of the research went into, like mechanics and how can we lower injuries? Because obviously, if someone is injured or at pain, you're not gonna feel better. If you're in pain, it's hard to work. You're gonna increase chances of absenteeism and presenteeism, which is when you're at work, you're probably going to be in pain. You can't really focus.
I like that one. Presenteeism.
Yep. It's actually.
Can I apply that to parenting?
That's a good one. Man.
And dating. Yeah, relationships.
Yep. So kind of moving forward here. So some of the things that I mostly have noticed and kind of preparing for this interview, what I did was I asked my family, like my sisters, my brothers, and also my wife, like kind of like just observing them and seeing what are they doing since they started working from home. What are the things that are causing the most pain? So immediately I wanted to definitely touch on this one. I think this one is going to affect a lot of people. So the seat pan depth of whatever the chair it is that you're sitting in, this is huge.
So like what is, if you could just define, what is seat pan depth? Which area? If you can put your mouse maybe on that diagram so you can show our viewers Which part? Is it the depth of where your butt goes back to?
Absolutely. So
Okay.
if you look, for example, this young lady here seated in this chair. So this is a couch. This is probably the similar depth of the seat
Mm-hmm.
to which most people actually sit in. Like most people's like couch that they're working from, probably now that they're at home, is going to be this deep. And so what's happening here, if you see this area right here, her feet are floating. You're unable
Yeah.
to rest your feet on the ground. So what happens, this throws off your back a lot. So
Yeah.
the fact that you can't bend your knees to 90 degrees is gonna, this is a better example here on this right side. See this guy here? See this dip in his lower, this little gap, because he's
Yeah.
getting stopped right here.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's gonna have to sit like this. He's probably gonna put his laptop right here,
Yeah.
and then he's gonna look down all day. So if his back is at this weird angle all day long, you can imagine he's gonna get lower back pain.
I just felt pain in my back looking at that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I bet, man. And this is actually caught my wife doing this. So this is one of the things that definitely I wanted to touch on the most, because I know this is what a lot of people are looking like. So there's a couple of solutions for this. One option is, if you have like a long pillow, put it right behind you to kind of fill in that gap, and that's going to cause you to sit up straight, as opposed to doing this weird kind of angle thing here in your lower back.
Awesome. So it should be behind your butt and your back.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
got it.
because you want to fill in that gap so that you have that support and you can sit upright and not have to just like kind of slouch back that way.
Awesome.
So if you must sit at a couch, this would probably be the way to do it. But honestly, there's even a better solution as well, which we're gonna kind of get into a little bit. But definitely, if you can avoid sitting on a couch, is the best thing to do was sit at an actual table. But if you are sitting on a couch, this is the best way to do that. And kind of getting back to another example here of an issue with your feet not floating. So what happens when you don't have that support from the ground? And this is whether you're sitting on your sofa, or if you're sitting even on a normal office chair. If your feet are floating, one of the worst things you can do for your back is for your feet to float, right? Because it kind of throws off your mechanics, and it's going to cause you to kind of slouch here. Yeah. And it's amazing where just adding, it's easier for people to actually feel this. Like when I do my assessments, and at this point I've done over 5,000 workstation assessments, and specifically office assessments like this. When I do these assessments, literally I'll put like something like a couple of stacks of paper underneath people's feet. And just that little change, it raises your knees. It puts your pelvis in a neutral alignment, as opposed to kind of putting you in that posterior pelvic tilt. And it immediately, it brings your forehead back as well. So there's two options. So for someone who's working from home at a desk, if you have an adjustable height desk that can lower, then the easiest way will be to lower the desk, lower the chair to where your knees and hips are at 90 degrees. That will kind of give you that lower extremity support. And then also make it easier for you to sit back. If you don't have the luxury of lowering your desk, then the next thing you do will order a footrest. And you can get footrest from on Amazon or anywhere, like $20-30, and just put something underneath your feet so that
or a stack of books.
Or a stack of books. Yep, exactly. I've done that too. So little things like that will actually go a very, very long way. All right. So this is another slide here. So this one here is again, so same issue here with this being too high. That's going to throw your pelvis off, which is bad. Let me bring this down here. Also, if your chair is too low, that's also going to cause lower back discomfort as well. So this is more of an issue for like the taller people. And I often in the office setting, I've seen this more of an issue with shorter people. So where your feet are kind of dangling right under here. So again, ideal height is going to be that 90 degrees in your knees and your hips. So that's where I normally start from. So I normally start by adjusting people's chair. Once I kind of get that going, then we move to other parts as well. Okay. Also, hand position. This is also going to be a really, really big one here. So like if we see a lot of incidence rates of like carpal tunnel and wrist and hand pain, tenosynovitis and the core veins and so forth. When I do my assessments, whether it be in person or online assessments, which is what I'm mostly doing now, like virtual stuff. When I always kind of ask people or I look for your wrist positioning. So you always want to make sure your wrist is straight as opposed to this bent area right here.
Do you suggest like an ergonomic keyboard for this?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
When I normally do my assessment, there's several keyboards that you can go with. Microsoft makes a few that I like a lot. Also, you can do a split keyboard. So there are some keyboards that you can use. I also like palm rests as well. Yeah. Yep. But you have to be careful with the palm rest though, because a lot of times if they're too deep, then it can also cause more pain and cause an issue with pressing on that median nerve. And you really want to avoid pressing on that median nerve.
And it's funny because from a work perspective in my 20-year career, I've seen more of this than even, I mean, back pain is the most popular thing I've seen, but I see a ton of carpal tunnel issues.
Yep.
And whether it's coming from computer use, problems with the neck, it's amazing. This is great. Thank you.
Yep. You're very, very welcome. Yeah. So it does. It causes a lot of wrist and hand pain. It's that crank in the neck. And most often, Brian, what I mostly see it is on the right side or whatever the mousing side is. So if someone is right-handed and they're using their mouse a lot, kind of doing that radial ulnar deviation, a lot of that motioning is going to add up, right? And that's what's going to cause a lot of issues. If someone is left-handed, I'll see more issues with the mouse seeing side if the mouse is on the left side. So definitely the mouse plays a big factor. And there's ergonomic mice as well. I really like vertical mice. A lot of research is saying you want your wrist to be more of like a 45-degree angle. So a lot of these angled mice are really, really good. Cool. And another really good point, kind of dealing into like ergonomic tools like keyboard and mouse. So people use the term ergonomic so loosely. So a lot of times what an ergonomic tool means is it's to fit your body at rest when you're not utilizing force. So like when your hand, and it's, if people can try this at home and your listeners, but if your hand is like kind of relaxed on your table, your hand naturally kind of goes at this angle, right? So in order to
I just look down at my hands. That's exactly what they're doing.
That's what it does. So it makes more sense then, right? If your hand naturally does this, it makes more sense for the mouse to also be at that angle, right? So if by you having to position your forearms flat, that's going to cause a lot more. And then again, holding that position for a long time, you're activating those muscles right in your forearms and your elbows. So that's what's going to a lot of times irritate that tennis elbow.
Well, it's funny just because like as therapists, it makes sense. But for those of you who are listening out there, how could a slight little angular change cause carpal tunnel or the pain that I'm feeling? And just, you can take it from us therapists that to us, it seems, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But to the non-therapist, the non-movement specialist, it might not be logical, but these small little changes on a chronic repetitive basis can really screw up the whole system.
Absolutely. Yep. It's that frequency and the duration. Again, it's 8 hours of that, 10 hours of that positioning, little things that, especially as we age, our bodies gets more sensitive. So all those things are definitely going to add up. So kind of moving forward. So that's those are the biggest things to avoid with using a keyboard and a mouse. Again, making sure your wrists are flat. A lot of times I also see people with the keyboard, the feet up, like way in the wrists are extended up. So you want to make sure that your wrists are flat. So it's better to actually have your palms, the keyboard feet down if possible.
Okay.
Yep. So
Great.
that's another common thing that I'll see also. All right. So now kind of getting on to the left. I thought this slide was hilarious.
Yeah.
Because this is what the majority of people are probably looking like now.
I feel like that's what my children look like at home these days.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. And I know, again, from our time together, again, that we see a lot of college students as well. So a lot of college students are working from the laptop. And this is a lot of times what they're doing. It's like working from this laptop and sitting here hunched over. And when I do these assessments, it's always funny as because I take images before and after, and then I'll take pictures of people before, and I have them kind of type a little bit. I say, let me see what you look like when you're working. And then I'll take a picture of this and I'll show them to and literally you'll be surprised. This is how people are spending 8 hours a day and they don't know why they have pain.
Or why their posture is getting bad.
Yep.
Or why they're losing energy.
Exactly. Why they're using energy, why they're in pain, why they find it difficult to focus and be less productive, why they're calling off work, why physical therapy is like, why they feel great, again, leaving it. Because I think definitely this works great in combination with physical therapy. Yeah. So anyway, so this is what I see a lot of people doing this, and this is what a lot of people are probably looking at now, or this second positioning here, you're working for a desk, which is even worse.
Yeah.
So again, now you have this guy have his feet floating, he's looking down. So regardless, this kind of bent over, hunched over posture, broken mechanics here, hinging forward in the thoracic spine as well, is going to cause a lot of issues again over that duration. So kind of the solution for that, and this is that kind of act like, so most people, the majority, probably 80% of the assessments I do, people have pain in this upper back area between their shoulder blades and their neck. So a lot of people who are working from home now, that's probably what they're experiencing. And this is why probably, most likely, because you're looking down, you're hinging forward. Your body's supposed to be stacked like this. So kind of getting into solutions now, the way to fix, if you are working from a laptop, the best way to do it is get a designated home station, get a desk or somewhere that you can work designated, right? And then if you must work from a laptop, you want to get a laptop stand. And again, you can get it from Amazon, you get it from anywhere. Just something to raise and elevate that screen to the height of your eyes. So, and then you'll be surprised, just raising the screen to the height level, your body's going to adjust from it. So instead of doing this, your body naturally is going to sit up because it wants to adjust to the height of the screen. And just that in itself is going to make a big difference.
Cool.
Were you going to say something? I'm sorry.
No. This is great.
Okay. So yeah, so get a laptop stand, and then you're also going to use a separate keyboard and a separate mouse. And then you put the keyboard and the mouse on your desk. Now, if you're just opening your laptop for an hour or so, right, to open your laptop and do a little bit of work, that's not a big deal, right? Like if you want to just open your laptop in bed for 30 minutes, an hour, that's not a huge deal. And I always get this question when I do my lunch and learns and my assessments, like, how bad is this? So the answer to that is depending on how often you're doing it and the duration of how long you're doing it is how bad it is, right? So if you're opening your laptop for an hour or two, it's not a big deal, but you don't want to look 8 hours. You don't want to do this for 8 hours, right? You don't want to stay hunched over like this or look like this lady for 8 hours long, right? Because again, it's gonna add up a lot and beat down on your body. So so definitely that this is going to be a big one. I think this one is going to help. Just making a simple change is going to help a lot of people.
Great.
All right. So kind of getting into now your actual desk specifically. So this is the kind of the things that you want to set up for. So if you are at a desk and not working from like again your couch or anything like that, in general you can do two options. Either if you have a desktop, it's better to use a desktop, or again you can have the option to just raise your laptop on a laptop stand. I've also seen some people put their laptops on shoe boxes. So anything to elevate that screen again to the height of your eyes. All right. So now your chair. You want to make sure, again, we already went over the height of the chair. You want your knees and hips to be 90 degrees. You want your armrest to be right underneath your resting elbow. So you want to make sure a good chair has adjustable height armrest, right? Because everyone has different lengths arms, right? So you want to make sure that your armrests are adjustable. You don't want your armrest to be too high that it's causing your shoulders to shrug like this, because then again, your traps are going to get really tight because you're hunching all day. But at the same time, you don't want them to be too low to where it is not doing anything. So I recommend just very light support, unless you have like a cubital tunnel syndrome or anything like that where you don't want to press on that ulnar nerve. And if you do have like any type of real bad symptoms like in your wrist or hands, then I normally just get the armrest out of the way.
Okay, great. Okay.
So eyes leveled, upper 1/3, armrest underneath your resting elbows, knees at hips at 90 degrees. You want to kind of set your chair up to where you can be close to 90 degrees, or you can have a lot of the new research is saying you can have a slight bit of a recline, very, very slight bit of a recline, just enough to kind of just rest. Okay. And also you want a chair that can obviously swivel. So for those that are home right now working from their kitchen chairs or their dining room tables, if you're going to be at home for a long time, which a lot of people, it looks like we're probably going to be home for at least another probably couple of months, then you want to invest in a good chair. I know it sucks, but invest in a good office chair. It's really, really important because that, again, sitting from our dining room table chair, they're not meant for that type of work to be set in.
Long-term chronic sitting, yeah
exactly. That's not what they're meant for. So I would say make that investment. And then also this slide right here just talks about the zones of for frequently used items. So this is something that I see often. So anyone that uses the phone often, I'm kind of getting out of order here. So you want your keyboard and your mouse to be closest to you, right? And the way the body works, the further away a tool is, the more stress is going to put on your body to reach for it, right? So like less frequent zone here, and then the rare zone. So for example, if I'm using a phone a lot, if I'm a telemarketer or a receptionist and I'm using the phone a lot, you'll want the phone to be close here. Like again, the closer to your midline is better, as well as closer to like in proximity. So if you're reaching out to the side all day, that's going to put more stress than your phone being out in front of you. And again, it's that frequency and duration. If you're not using the phone much, it's not a big deal, but you don't want to be reaching for your phone often. If it's all the way over here to the side, you're constantly doing this, you get a lot of rotator cuff issues and a lot of problems like that if you're doing that often.
It's great. This stuff it's so simple. It's like common sense is so uncommon, it's often mistaken as genius. So this is like genius concepts right here that just move my friggin' phone further away and get what. That's awesome. Thank you.
And it's those things that we just don't think about. And if no one who actually ever told you to look out for those things, you just would not look out for it. Is those things. I think we get so stressed with work and we get so tied into our work that we're not even thinking about our environment. So my hopes are that people who are listening to this will kind of be more conscious of your environment, right? And see what else is going on. And by the way, I'm not perfect also. I also, like, when I'm working at my desk, and I do feel like any discomfort, I'm like, what is going on? And then I have to make little changes as well that also help a lot. So it's really just kind of keeping it top of mind. I like to print out like an ergonomic assessment, kind of like a little picture like this, and keep it by me. So just so I can kind of keep referring back to it until it becomes habitual. So that's what I would suggest for a lot of people.
Great.
All right. So that kind of moving on. So behavior and movement. So it's great, right? To make sure your station and is set up correctly. But it's important to note that all sedentary postures will eventually hurt, right? So our bodies as human beings aren't made to sit for as long as we're sitting for, right? So it's like we're made to move. We're made to just get up and move and do stuff. It's really, again, since we're sitting right now, our generation more than ever, we have so many simple luxuries. We have grocery store delivery systems and washing machines. Since the beginning of time, we were moving more. We're doing a lot more. So just this sitting for so long and sedentary just living, it's actually what caused a lot of pain, a lot of issues. So it's important that to just make sure we're getting up often. So even with your workstation, set up correctly, you're still going to have pain if you're sitting for too long. So you want to get up every 30 to 45 minutes is what a lot of the new research is saying. Well, and I have a lot of people tell me, Emile, like, I get so focused in my work that 30 to 45 minute goes like this. So what I like is there's a lot of apps that you can use, like break reminder apps, which will just like remind you to literally take breaks and get up. And also a lot of smartwatches now also will beep and remind you to get up and move too. So it's good to set reminders to just get up. And so a lot of, and another thing when I kind of mention this point to people, is say they feel like it's going to break their flow, right? And it's going to break their productivity to get up and move. And what I tell them is a lot of new research in productivity says that we work better in bursts of work, right? Yeah. So like you might start off like doing really, really fast, but then after many, many hours, you're going to plateau a little bit. You kind of get foggy, kind of lack of oxygen. Your body's going to start to ache and you're going to slow down. So you want to about 45 minutes, you take a small break, get up and move for a little bit, then even if it's just like a minute or two, and then you go back to work again. Do you do another burst of work? And so you want to take those frequent breaks and doing burst of work. So a lot of the studies show that makes you a lot more productive.
And these are some of your suggested movements that we can do?
Yes. So okay. So now normally when I do my my assessments, I have a full page of like 6 or 8 exercises, but these are probably 3 of some of the best ones. Okay. So you want to kind of counteract a lot of the motions that you're doing. So the majority of people sit with a forehead posture, right? So you're sitting here leaning forward. Exactly. Yep. And you might not realize it, but if you ask someone to take a picture of you, like while you're working, you will see a lot of people do that. So this is the really good one, chin tuck. So instead of that, you want to counteract it. So you want to activate these muscles in your posterior chain. So bring that ear back above your shoulders and hold that 10 times for 3 seconds. Yep. 1, 2, 3. Yep. And then you relax. And then again, 1, 2, 3. And so that's just going to activate those muscles right behind your neck and get those working. Yep. So that's going to be a really good one. Also shoulder rolls. So again, a lot of people have those rounded shoulders, right? And have your keyboard farting around it like that a lot. So you get really tight pecs. So your pecs get really tight and overly stretched rhomboids, lower traps, and you're really rounded. So this one here is going to kind of combat that also. So same things. You just want to roll those shoulder backwards. And it's important to go in a reverse circular pattern, right? Because if you go forward, then you're kind of cueing yourself to kind of go more forward. You want to squeeze backwards and go reverse pattern, really squeeze those shoulder blades together. And you can even hold it back there for a few seconds when you get right to the back. So again, we're trying to do the opposite of what our body naturally has us doing. What gravity has us doing is rolling forward. So that's going to be a good one also. And also like seated piriformis stretch. This is really good for your low back, for your hips, for your glutes. So just kind of bringing that knee across your hips. And there's a bunch of other ones also, but this is a really, really good place to start. Great. So just kind of doing these ones also.
This is amazing stuff, man. Thank you.
Very, very welcome. And then also remember 20-20-20. So every 20 minutes, look at something 20 feet away for 20 seconds. Because a lot of people I know have eye strain. So what happens, your eyes have muscles, they get tired. So it's important. You want to look at something 20 feet away for about 20 seconds. And that gives your eye muscle a chance to rest a little bit because that can lead a lot to headaches and eye strain and so forth. At kind of last point of getting on the eyes, if you're sitting next to if your station is next to a window and you have a lot of glare in your screen, that's also a common source of eye strain. So you can tilt your blinds away so you don't have glare in your screen. That's something you can do, or close them completely, or add another source of light, which can also kind of balance out the lighting.
Wonderful.
Okay?
Wonderful. That's
Yeah,
we're going to put all this stuff. This will be in the text and the write up as well. That's all you got for us, right?
So
that was a lot of great, very, very useful information. So thank you for putting that together. You can put that slide up. That's fine. So you're going to be able to find Emile if you guys need work assessments, things like that. You can certainly find him on the socials, and you'll see him here. But I just want to take this minute to really impress upon our listeners how important it is to pay attention to, the frequency and duration of how long you're holding those postures, excuse me, and the relevance that it plays on your productivity, your overall energy, and like what you can put out after work. Because we all have families and things to do at home after, and we don't want to be spent by the time we get home from work. So you can catch, certainly if you weren't able to take notes, certainly catch this on the replay. And also if you can type in some things that you found useful to help your own ergonomic setup since you've adapted to these changes during these times. So thank you, Emile, and appreciate you coming on, man.
Absolutely. I really appreciate it. Again, if anyone wants to contact me or have any questions, feel free to reach out. Elevation_health on Instagram, Elevation Health on Facebook. It's going to be this. There's a couple of them on Facebook. So you want to do the one with this symbol here, as the little green thing here that says Elevation Health, and then shoot me an email. I'll be happy to answer questions about chair recommendations, keyboard, anything like that. So feel free to reach out. And then last point I just wanted to touch on, please, for everyone who is, I know we're all working from home right now, please just get up and move. For people who are in areas that you can still go outside for walks, please try to get out every day. I know Immunity Community right now, kind of your platform is big on kind of teaching people how to reduce the stress and increase their immune systems. You still got to move. Exercise, movement is going to help a lot to increase your immunity. So please make sure you're still working out every day at home. Try to get out for walks if you can. I normally take my daughter out after lunchtime every day. So please just still take care of yourself during this time period.
Dude,
thank you.
Appreciate your passion and the direction to just live a healthier life, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Very welcome.
Thanks
Brian.
a lot,
Thanks
man.
for the opportunity.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Got it.